then we capitalize on what we see. Wanna go to Pitville? Come join the Pip Academy and learn the Pip drill. Let's take the trip to Pitville.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? I want to welcome you back to my channel. And in this video, we're going to go over the weekly analysis for December 16th through the 20th, 2024. And so in this video, we're going to cover GU, EU, gold, and also NAS or the NASDAQ. Okay. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with GU, and we're currently on the weekly time frame. And so a lot of times I like to look and see how the week closed, kind of look at a few confluences as to where the market is going and things like that. So as we can see, EU from a weekly perspective has been bullish for weeks. It's been bearish for weeks. We got a small pullback into this area. We had a doji, and then price ended almost with the evening star pattern in this particular area here and kind of took out this liquidity at the bottom. Okay. So one of the things I like to do is I like to look at the OHLC model from the weekly perspective on that previous weekly candle. That way, for my swing trade opportunities, I can see exactly where the market is going, where the market stopped. I can see where my opportunities are for swing trading if I decide to go that route. But it also gives me just the extra confluence when I'm actually in the markets. Okay. So when I'm looking at this from a swing trading position and I go to the 4 hour, I can see exactly where the market stopped. So one of the things that I will be looking for on this particular pair for me to look for any type of swing trade opportunities is for a 4 hour to close below, retest, and then continue to the downside, or for a 4 hour to close above, give a retest, and then I can ride price up to this area here. But looking at how the market closed, it closed with a bearish, bullish, bearish. And so this here is a continuation pattern to the downside. So on this type of pattern, I'll be looking for price to possibly come retest back into this order block here and then possibly continue to the downside. Okay, but we'll wait and see exactly what the market gives us as far as those opportunities. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, just to kind of look at the daily structure on where the market is going or where it is at this particular point, we can see the daily structure is as follows. Okay, the daily structure is extremely huge at this particular point. And so we have another supply zone on the daily in this area here. Okay. And so we have a lot of room to come back in this area, but I want to see if price will take out this daily target down in this area here. Okay. 1 second, you guys. And so let's go ahead and look at the 4 hour. And if you look at our 4 hour structure, you can see some of the opportunities that we have here or where the market is going. So the market came down, gave lower lows and lower highs. It gave us a change of character in this area here, gave us a pullback, gave us an impulse to the upside, and then the market stopped right at the H4 protected swing low in this area here. We didn't necessarily get any body closures, but we did get some liquidity that was taken in this area here. And so one of the things that we could possibly have for the week when it opens is for price to break below this point here, come down, tap into this 4 hour demand zone that we have here, and price can continue to the downside. Or we can have price break through this, give us a closure, give us a retest in this area, and then continue to the downside. So we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen. If we go to our medium time frame, where we usually look for our biases and take our entries and things like that, we can see that it is actually correlating with the 4 hour and daily as well. It is bearish as well, because we can see on this particular time frame, we had price, it was bullish initially. Price gave us a change of character, retest, consolidated for a while, but then it dropped down, came up, dropped down, lower highs and lower lows. So I'll possibly look for price to come up in this area here and maybe continue to the downside. Okay, so we'll see exactly what happens when the market opens. All right, and that's what I have for GU. All right, you guys, so looking at EU, we're gonna start off on our weekly time frame, and we wanna also see where the market closed for the previous week. All right, so one of the things that we can see is we had a bearish railroad. That's 3 candles that almost is symmetrical in size and they're consecutive. So we had a bearish railroad. We can see in this area up here, we had a bearish, bullish, bearish. Like I said in the previous pair, that's a continuation pattern. And we can see that price continued in a bearish fashion. We got a slight pullback in this area, and then we got indecision with this particular doji here. It almost looks as though it's a dragonfly doji, and then the week ended in bearish fashion. Okay, so if we throw on our OHLC model, we can see what our opportunities would be if we decided to do any swing trading this week. So if we go to our 4-hour and kind of look where the market stopped and things of that nature, we can see it almost ended with a bullish, bearish, bullish. However, this particular candle failed to break above this area here. Okay, we do see that we have an imbalance in this area right here with the demand zone. So price could possibly come back down to this area, tap into this, or continue to the downside. All right, or if price decides to come above here, give us a retest, we could ride price back up in this area to take out all of this liquidity here. We have all this liquidity in this area here, you guys. Okay, this pocket of liquidity here. And then we also have a 4-hour supply zone in this area here. So we'll just wait and see exactly what the market will give us, okay? So now, if we look at our daily structure just to see what EU is giving us from a daily perspective, we can see that our daily structure is extremely huge as well. We can see we got a lot of room up here to work with, and we have a couple of supply zones up in this area, but overall we're bearish on the daily time frame. Okay, if we come over here to our 4-hour time frame and kind of look what the market is doing from this perspective, we can see that we're bearish as well. Okay, we can see that the market was giving us lower highs and lower lows, and it continued in that fashion. It came up, took out liquidity at the close to possibly the middle of this week or Thursday or whatever day it was. It took out liquidity here, but it failed to close above this area. And so we can see that it started giving us a descent to the downside, which possibly means it wants to take out this H4 or this daily target at the bottom. Okay, so now if we go to our medium time frame, if we go to the 30-minute, one of the things that we can see, I'll move this over to the 4-hour, kind of hide that right now. One of the things that we can see is we pretty much got our 30-minute just pretty much giving us a staircase, staircase to hell, pretty much, just kind of sort of going down. And we can see pretty much this beautiful market structure, lower lows, lower highs, and it's just constantly giving us those patterns. It came up in this area, took liquidity at the end of the week. However, it failed to break this area and get us a body closure. If we drop to the 5-minute or so, one of the things that we can possibly see is a change of character on this particular time frame. Let's check that out. Yes, we have a change of character. If you look at the 5-minute, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we had price to close a body closure below this level here. Okay, I'll do a change of character instead of a POS. Body closure change above this area here. So one of the things that we can look for is we have a supply zone right here, okay, that we can possibly utilize this for an entry perspective. Okay, we can possibly utilize this for an entry when the market opens. Look for a 1 to 3 opportunity. This will be our first TP in this area here. We can utilize this for the first TP because we always like to do 1 to 3s for the first initial TP. And then for the final TP, we'll be looking to take out this area down here in the bottom here. Okay, so one of the things that this can definitely present for a really good sell opportunity So we'll be looking at this, and as you guys can see, I do have, it looked like I had already initially marked this up. There's a sell limit right here that you know, price come up here and tap into it, it'll possibly wick me in. So I do believe I do have this trade enabled when the market opens. Okay. All right, that's it that we have for EU. So let's go ahead and move over to gold, you guys. Let me move this daily structure off. And we're gonna start with the weekly like we do on everything else. All right, so if we look at the weekly time frame, you guys, we had some interesting things to go on for the past few weeks. One of the things that we saw we were bullish initially, gave us a huge pullback, and then we got a massive bullish engulfing with this beautiful Maribosa on a weekly. And for those that don't know what a Maribosa is, that's a huge candle with no wicks on each side. So this is nothing but buy pressure that came in the week of the 18th. It literally was no wicks or no pullbacks or anything. Okay, and then once that closed, we saw price took out this liquidity here, gave us some pullback here. It came in at more than 50% of this candle, and then a couple weeks after that, we see price came up, and then price came up and took out liquidity in this area, which I believe was a supply zone or something on a daily or something like that. Okay, if we look at our OHLC models for this candle that closed, and we go to the 4-hour, one of the things that we can see is that we got a 4-hour closure below this zone here. These zones are really, really small, in my opinion. If we look at this just from a pip perspective, this is about 100 pips. So you can still kind of capitalize off of this. And so what I would do if I decided to take a trade, I'm not sure. I got to look at the other time frames for confluences. But if price came up to this area, I'll have to get a retest and then possibly on the hourly, see if I got a body closure below this level and possibly ride it down to this level here. All right. However, let's look at the daily and see exactly what happened on the daily time frame. Okay. So on the daily time frame, if we look at that weekly candle, we can see on that weekly candle, price came up and it tapped into this daily demand. I'm sorry, this daily supply up here. And as you guys can see, it was perfect here. And it actually took out liquidity in these areas, right up in this area here. With this particular pattern, we can see it left a supply zone here. Okay. And so price, because we're bearish on the daily, I'm looking for price to come down, take out this liquidity in this area here, and give us a descent to take out this daily target. We also have a daily demand in this area as well. Okay. If we drop to our 4-hour and kind of look at structure, what's going on, I'm gonna remove the daily for a second. We can see our daily, our 4-hour, it was bearish initially, and then it decided to change our characteristics to the upside. We got a body closure above this area, but we can see that it fell, it tanked right after that, gave us a nice retest, gave us some sort of a consolidation in this area, and then price came up, took out liquidity in this area, but it failed to give us a body closure and decided to tank to the downside. One thing when you're looking at this, you got to be careful because the 4-hour is bullish, however the daily is bearish. Okay, so we just got to be mindful of that, of where we are in the market, and we got to be careful. And one thing that we could do is probably wait for more confirmations before we go into anything. So if we drop to our medium time frame, we did get a transition to the downside on this particular time frame. As you guys can see, we had higher high, higher low, higher high, change of character in this area here. I would like to see price come up and retest into this area, come down, take out this last Asia low, and also possibly come down to this area here. So I'll be looking closely for that when the market opens. I do have an alert right around 26.74.26, and as you guys can see, gold hits the 4-hour POI. Well, it's approaching that, but I need to change this to daily because that's a daily POI. Okay, come up here, tap into this daily, come down, possibly take this out, and low, and also go lower, and so on and so forth. One thing we want to be mindful of, though, we do have some imbalances in here and some unhealthy price action. So price could very well come up to this area, up into this area before it starts to descend. So we just want to be mindful of what it is, and on the lower time frames, look for our lower confirmations. That way we know exactly what we're getting into, and we can have double confirmations before we enter any trades. All right, that's pretty much what I have on gold, you guys. And so let's end it off with NAS. Last but not least, good old NAS. Okay, so now if we're looking at the weekly time frame, a few weeks ago when we did analysis, one of the things that we saw is that price had given us huge bullish engulfing from this area here. And one of the things that I had stated was I wanted to see price kind of tap into this demand zone, and it did just that. Price came up, it tapped into this demand zone here, gave us some rejection to the upside, and then it continued to the upside. Okay, and so now we have a weekly imbalance in this area here that can possibly come back to get filled. Okay, so we'll be mindful of that, you know, when the week opens and things like that. Okay, so now let's look at our OHLC model. Okay, and so we close with a bullish candle on our weekly time frame, and these are pretty much our zones. So if we go to the 4-hour, kind of looking at this, one of the things that we can see is that we had a beautiful break to the downside, and we got that retest that we were looking for from a swing trading perspective, and it closed below this area. So if we go to the 1-hour, we got a beautiful evening star pattern here. So one of the things that could happen when the market opens, it could be an entry here, and you can take it down to this area here. Okay, let's give us a little bit more for a 1 to 3. Can't quite get a 1 to 3 with this particular trade unless you kind of move your stop loss down a little bit, and so that depends on how the market opened. I would like to see the market pull back slightly into this area here and then give us that descent. If it does that, I'm going to set an alert right here. If we do get that, then I'll actually take a trade, a sell trade on NAS. But that's contingent on what the rest of the market structure looks like. NAS retest, swing opportunity. Okay. And that's on 21,756, you guys. All right, so I'm gonna wait and see exactly what the market does on that particular opportunity. All right, so let's go over to our daily structure and see what the market has been doing. So we can see on NAS from a daily perspective, we've been bullish for quite some time. All right, if we look at this, we can see market came up, down, and gave us an impulse to the upside. And so looking at this, it looks like we're due for a pullback. Okay, it looked like we're due for a pullback, and we don't know exactly when it's going to pull back yet, so I'm not going to necessarily put a fib on for the daily. However, I do want to see a pullback for this particular pair. If we go over to our 4-hour structure, one of the things that we can see is the 4 hours. Take that off, that was previous. Our 4-hour is really, really small. It's really small. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then we got this up in this area here. Okay, we do got a body closure above this area, which, you know, this is valid for a higher high. Okay, so we can see with this though, we did get a huge pullback, which was more than 50% or greater for our fib, you know, opportunity within our H4. So it looks like we're getting a retest up in this area, which possibly might mean that we might want to still come down, because like I said, it looked like we're due for a pullback. If I put our 30-minute on, our 30-minute is also perfectly aligned with our 4-hour structure. Okay, and we can see one of the things that we can see, but it's a little bit confusing, and I don't want to confuse myself like that, is that we do got a higher high here. We got 2 candle pullback, and we got this 1 candle that impulse to the upside. And so when I have things that are confusing like that, I just stick with clear market structure, and I'll just wait for another structural point to happen. Okay, but right now I am bullish on the 30-minute. If we get a break below this area here, then I can change my bias to say, okay, price will come down to take out all this unhealthy price action and possibly take out these imbalances. Okay, but right now, what is this? Oh, that's that swing opportunity. Right now, this is what I have on NAS. NAS is still bullish. And so for all the pairs, let's go ahead and make sure that we understand where the markets are going. Make sure we use proper risk management and patience this week. Let's try to focus on really sticking to whatever strategy that you guys are using. Let's try to be on our A game as far as psychology. And hey, you guys, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. I want to thank you for tuning into this video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.
Capitalize on what we see. Wanna go to Pitville? Come join the Pip Academy and learn the Pip drill. Let's take the trip to Pitville.